At first, the distance is small. You're still close enough to the people you've always known, still sharing the same spaces, still speaking the same language. But then you start changing, growing, evolving, and the distance starts to widen. You're reading different books, thinking different thoughts, building different habits, and slowly, the conversations start to feel off. Like you're speaking one language and they're speaking another. It's not their fault. It's not yours either. It's just what happens when you commit to a path that most people won't take. They're talking about the game last night. You're thinking about the next move in your business. They're planning the next party. You're planning the next year of your life. They're living for the weekend. You're building something that matters beyond the weekend. You start having less to say in group conversations, not because you don't care about them, but because your mind is somewhere else, on something bigger, something they can't see yet. And that's lonely, because you're surrounded by people you care about, but you feel like you're on an island, speaking a language they don't understand, fighting battles they don't see, carrying weight they can't feel. You try to explain it, you try to share the vision, but words fail. Because ambition is something you have to feel, and they don't feel it, not the way you do. So you stop trying to explain. You stop trying to bring them along, not because you don't love them, but because you realize that your journey is yours to walk. And you can't make someone understand a calling they haven't heard. The distance grows, and you learn to walk with it. This is the hardest part, the part where you're truly alone with your ambition, where the excitement has worn off and what's left is just you and the work. Nobody's cheering for you anymore. The initial support has faded. People have gone back to their lives, and you're still here, still grinding, still building, still believing in something that hasn't materialized yet. And in these moments, the isolation feels crushing because you question yourself, wondering if you're delusional, if you're wasting your time, if everyone else is right and you're wrong. This is where most people turn back because the loneliness is too much, because being isolated feels like a sign that you're on the wrong path, because it's easier to rejoin the crowd than to keep walking alone. But here's what you need to understand. The isolation isn't a sign you're wrong. It's a sign you're on a path that requires more than most people are willing to give. Comfort keeps company. Mediocrity travels in groups. Average is never lonely because everyone is there. But success is a solo journey, at least at first, because the things worth achieving require a level of focus that most people won't maintain, a level of sacrifice that most people won't make, a level of dedication that most people won't sustain. And you can't maintain that while living like everyone else. You can't achieve what they won't achieve while doing what they do. You can't reach heights they won't reach while staying where they're comfortable. So you walk alone, not because you hate people, but because your destination requires a different route, a harder route, a route that most people will look at and choose not to take. And that's okay. Their path is valid. Your path is valid. They're just not the same path. You're not better than them. You're just going somewhere different. And different paths don't run parallel, they diverge. They separate, they create distance. So accept it. The isolation, the loneliness, the feeling of being the only one who sees what you see. Because it's part of the territory, part of the cost, part of the journey. Pay it. Because what you're building is worth more than the comfort of staying connected to people who aren't going where you are going. But here's something they don't tell you about the lonely road. Something you only discover by walking it. You are not as alone as you think. There are others on this path, walking their own lonely road, fighting their own battles, carrying their own weight, feeling their own isolation. And somewhere along the way, your paths cross. Not in the places you used to spend time, not in the crowds you used to run with, but in the arena, in the grind, in the places where people who want more show up to do the work. You meet them in unexpected moments, a conversation that goes deeper than surface level, a connection with someone who actually understands the weight you carry, a person who speaks your language because they are living the same translation. And suddenly, you're not alone anymore. Not completely. These aren't the people you grew up with. They're not the people you used to know. They're the people you meet because of where you're going, because of what you're building, because of who you are becoming. And the relationships you build here, they are different, deeper, built on shared understanding, on mutual respect for the path, on recognition of the isolation you've both endured. They don't just understand your ambition, they have their own. They don't just tolerate your drive, they match it. They don't ask you to dim your light, they shine their own. And these people, they don't just keep you company, they expand you. They challenge you. They show you levels you didn't know existed. They push your ambition further than you thought it could go. Because they're not content either. They're not satisfied either. They're not done either. They see more. They want more. They are building more. And when you connect with people like that, something shifts. You realize that isolation was part of the filter, part of the process that separated those who were serious from those who weren't. The loneliness wasn't a punishment. It was preparation, preparing you to recognize and value the right connections when they appear. But here's the key. You don't find these people by looking for them. You find them by walking your path, by doing the work, by showing up consistently in the spaces where people who want more exist. They appear naturally, organically, because you're both walking the same type of road. And eventually, those roads intersect. Now, this doesn't mean you abandon everyone who doesn't share your ambition. This doesn't mean you cut off every person who doesn't understand your vision. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself intentionally. The people who've been in your life, they matter. The relationships you've built, they have value. Just because someone isn't on the same path doesn't mean they're not important. But you have to accept that the relationship changes, the dynamic shifts, the time you spend together looks different. And that's okay. People can be in your life without being on your journey. They can matter without understanding what you're building. They can love you without comprehending the weight you carry. You learn to hold space for both, the people who've always been there and the people you meet because of where you're going. You don't have to choose. You don't have to cut anyone off. You just have to be honest about what each relationship can and can't provide. Some people are there for comfort, for normalcy, for reminding you of where you came from, and that's valuable. Other people are there for growth, for challenge, for showing you what's possible, and that's valuable too. Different people serve different purposes, and as long as you're clear about what you need and what they can give, there's no conflict. The isolation you feel isn't because you need to remove people from your life. It's because you need to accept that your ambition creates a space that not everyone can enter. And that's not a problem to solve. It's a reality to accept. You can love people and still walk a path they don't understand. You can maintain connections and still feel alone in your journey. You can have relationships and still carry weight that nobody sees. That's not isolation in the toxic sense. That's just the nature of pursuing something that most people won't pursue. And learning to be okay with that, that's maturity. That's wisdom. That's part of becoming someone who can handle the weight of their own ambition. So if you're feeling isolated right now, if you're feeling like nobody understands, if you're feeling like you're walking this road alone, you're right, you are. But that's not a sign you're on the wrong path. It's a sign you're on a path that requires something most people will not give. The isolation is temporary, or at least it evolves. You'll meet people who get it, who speak your language, who walk their own version of this lonely road. And when you do, those connections will be deeper than anything you've experienced before. But you can't force those connections. You can't manufacture them. You can't find them by abandoning your path. You find them by staying on it. Keep walking. Keep building. Keep showing up. Not just for the work, but for the person you're becoming through the work. Because that person attracts the right connections. That person speaks a language that others on this path recognize. That person builds relationships based on mutual growth, not mutual comfort. The crowd is comfortable, but it's also stagnant. The lonely road is hard, but it's also where transformation happens, where you become someone capable of more, where you meet people who expand what you thought was possible. So embrace the isolation, not as something to escape, but as something to walk through, as part of the journey, as proof that you're doing something most people won't do. And know this, every person who ever achieved something significant walked this road. They felt this isolation. They carried this weight. They questioned whether it was worth it. But they kept walking, and so will you. Because on the other side of this isolation is a version of you that's stronger, clearer, more aligned, connected to people who matter, building something that lasts. But you only get there if you're willing to walk the lonely road first. So walk it, with your head up, with your purpose clear, with the understanding that isolation is not rejection, it's selection. You're being selected for something greater. Something that requires you to walk a different path. Something that most people will never understand. And that's exactly why it's worth it.